Welcome to our NestJS series. In this comprehensive collection of articles, we will delve... Okay, ChatGPT, what the f*** is this? I asked for a small introduction. But on a more serious note, guys, welcome to this series where we're going to be covering everything you need to know about NestJS. So buckle up and let's start with episode 1. Whenever learning about a new concept, or in our case, a new framework, we need to understand 3 key points. First of all, what is that framework actually? What is it? Secondly, why does it exist? What problems does it solve? What are the advantages or use cases? And thirdly, how do I get started? How do I start using it? And those are the topics that we are gonna be tackling in this episode 1. Well, from the official website, we can tell that NestJS is a Node.js framework for building efficient, reliable, and scalable server-side applications. In other words, you can create back-end applications using NestJS, which is a framework that you run on top of Node.js. If you go to NPM and search for NestJS core, as you can see, almost 2 million weekly downloads, meaning there are a lot of people actually learning and using NestJS, and trust me, it's only gonna go up from now. So if you ask me, it's a good thing that you joined this series because, trust me, NestJS is only gonna progress. Behind the scenes, NestJS makes use of the package Express, which is mostly used by Node.js developers to create HTTP applications. Express is the default framework it uses behind the scenes, but you can configure it and make it use Fastify instead. We're gonna see how we can do that in the future. If you know Angular and used it before, you're gonna see that NestJS is very similar. And as you can see, even in the documentation, the creators of NestJS say that the architecture is heavily inspired by Angular. Also, if you know ASP.NET Core or Java Spring Boot and you're familiar with decorators, controllers, services, this is gonna be very comfortable for you. So far, what do we know? We know that NestJS is a framework. It runs on top of Node.js. It allows you to create back-end applications. It runs on top of Express, so it uses Express.js behind the scenes. And it has a lot of weekly downloads, so it is something. Now that we have the definition ticked, let's see what problems it solves and why should we use it. First thing you should know is that it's built with TypeScript and it fully supports it, although you can still also use pure JavaScript in NestJS. It also combines OOP, which is object-oriented programming, like the use of classes, instances, creating objects, and so on, functional programming, and functional reactive programming, which is whenever you deal with a stream of data events. Like if you're familiar with RxJS library, this is what we're talking about. Now, all of that is nice, but the main reason to use NestJS is to solve the problem of architecture. As you know, in Express.js, no one is forcing any architecture on you. So you could easily end up with a messy code, a tightly coupled one, difficult to test, not very scalable. So NestJS is modular. It actually works using modules, which is going to help you have a testable code, scalable, loosely coupled, so the modules would be separate. The code won't be tightly coupled, which is going to be helpful whenever it comes to maintaining your application. So NestJS is here to solve that specific problem, as it forces you to follow a specific architecture. It works with modules, and that is going to help you keep your code or modules separated from each other, meaning it's not going to end up being tightly coupled. The code won't be tightly coupled, which is going to help you scale, maintain your application, and actually test it, because you can test each module separately from the other. And we previously said that it's heavily inspired by Angular. Well, Angular also works with modules. Other key features in NestJS are that it supports dependency injection. So it helps you manage dependencies between different modules and components. It uses decorators, just like we said. And it also supports WebSockets, which is real-time communication. You can create GraphQL applications, RESTful APIs, microservices, cron jobs, and makes it actually easier to use, and a lot of other things. It also has support for multiple known libraries such as TypeORM and Mongoose and so many others. So to recap quickly, it uses a modular architecture, which is gonna make it easier for you to organize your code and reuse it. It uses dependency injection. It allows you to code either in TypeScript or JavaScript or both. And it also helps you with testing since it has its own testing module. To get started, let's install the NestJS CLI. Of course, you need to have Node.js and npm already running on your machine. Now I already have it installed, and to make sure of that, we can say nest -- version, and we're gonna see the version that we have. After doing so, we can use the command nest new and then type the package name to create a new NestJS project. Let's hit enter. It is going to ask you which package manager you would like to use. I'm gonna go with npm, and then it's gonna create the initial files for you. And it's done. As you can see, those are all automatically generated by the function. We have a tsconfig.json file, of course, package.json. We have the nestcli.json, and then we have a testing folder, a source folder here, in which we have a main.ts file, and then we can see we have a specific convention here, app.service, app.module, app.controller, and then this testing file, app.controller.spec. In the next video, we're going to explain what those files are, what is the role of each of these files, and what is a module, how to create a module, and what are the components of a module. So, go ahead right after this video and watch episode 2. See you there.